Hello, ladies, MBs, and gentlemen. I once was a vlogger. Not the typical kind of vlogger. I just mean I made videos and uploaded them to YouTube. I didn't do all this funky stuff with the cool graphics or green screen or lots of jump cuts or that thing, what do you call it, where you start talking about irrelevant drivel at the beginning of the video just to kind of bring people in. Like you start talking about what your hair looked like in the video, whatever. Didn't do that either, just made videos. There was no ukulele music in the background. There's a bit of music in the intro, yeah, not gonna lie. Did like to do that, but no ukulele music or that funky kind of electronica sort of going on in the background while I talked about whatever it was. I just made videos and I stopped. I stopped because I was pwned with facts and logic. That's sarcasm, obviously. No, I stopped because to be honest, I just have a life, a life outside of YouTube that I had to get on with. I had to get on with that and do that. And I'm still doing that, and it's quite good. Part of it involves, a lot of it's work, and some of that work is helping the disadvantaged, which is good. It's good to be helping the disadvantaged. On YouTube, what problem you've got is you're trying to explain to people that the disadvantaged exist. You're trying to explain that to people. It's absolutely inane. And what happens is people start having debates about it. They start indulging this nonsense. They will actually, if you're someone who believes that there's no disadvantage in society, everyone else is like, oh, let's have a debate with you about that. Let's not, assume that you're someone who needs to go back to primary school and have the basics of education put into you. No, let's have a debate with you as though you're someone with a serious point of view who actually knows what you're talking about. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, I just, I've been getting on with life, and I wonder, there's a lot of people who used to vlog, aren't there, who stopped. I know why some of them stopped. Some of them were treated horribly. I was treated horribly as well. I carried on anyway. I mean, the horrible treatment was upsetting, but not kind of in the way I think the people doing it wanted it to be. It wasn't a case of like, oh, this person insulted me and now I want to go and cry. It was more a case of it's really, don't want to say depressing, disheartening, let's say that, to know that people like this exist, and they exist en masse. People who think that these pathetic and awful insults are somehow mature behaviour. Knowing that mentality exists, it doesn't make me optimistic for the future of humanity or the present of humanity. And yeah, so it is upsetting, but not quite in the way I think they intended to. I think they want it to be a case of like, I've insulted this person and now they're going to have a little cry somewhere. I carried on for a while despite a lot of that. There were so much worse things that happened. It's the nature of YouTube, though. You see, YouTube is where there's no peer review or anything, is there? You just come and you express yourself, and that's that. And people will take you seriously, not based on whether you pass the scrutiny of academia or something like that, but more on whether you are charismatic to them or you match up with their prejudices. And that's very much, unfortunately, the way it works. And there's a lot of people who stopped vlogging, I think, for this reason. A lot of them were actually quite well-educated, intelligent people. And they just have other things they've got to be getting on with. Partly it's like jobs. People like that might get offered jobs, jobs which are going to take them a lot of time, and jobs which are going to actually be more productive for them, because not everyone is going to be an internet grifter. Not everyone is going to set up a channel, blurt out whatever nonsense is in their head and expect you to pay them for it. like some of these people actually, you know, are going to go and do jobs, and that's that. The other thing though is, I mean, even if it's not a job thing, it's just like there are so many thick fucks on YouTube that it's just not the place for intelligent people to thrive. It can still be done. But you've really got to graft at it. And I'm not even talking about doing it for a living here. Just doing it at all. It's so bad. But it's like the thick fucks on YouTube get really upset if you start penetrating their reality with actual reality. If you start giving them facts, if you go explain to them why they're wrong about anything, it's like, but we don't do it like that on YouTube. Stop spoiling it. We've decided on YouTube that this is what the facts are, and that's kind of also how religion works. By the way, if you're a YouTube atheist, you need to understand this. That yeah, you're creating the equivalent of like that church environment where we all just get together and we mutually agree that this is actually how things work. And if people try and penetrate into that, we say to them, stop spoiling it. You're spoiling it. Go somewhere else if you don't like it. Whereas if we were skeptical, we'd actually welcome that. We'd want to know if we were wrong. So I think that is why a lot of people stop. They stop because, you know, sometimes it's because of horrible treatment. Sometimes it's just they have got other things to be getting on with. You know, some of these people are smart, they're well educated, they're resourceful, they are people whose education, intelligence and resourcefulness is actually valued elsewhere, and that's where they find employment and things like that. But yeah, that's all really. That's why I stopped. It'd be great, wouldn't it, if I announced now that I was going to start again. I kind of I do. I have a channel called the Decon Comms channel, which some of you know about, some of you don't. And that is where I put a lot of my political work. A lot of that is I see it as an educational channel. It is that kind of a channel, and I use references. I'm trying to explain things to people that they might miss on YouTube. Definitely not the sort of channel where if you chop bits of my videos up and do responses, interspersing them with your, what you presumably think is wisdom. Yeah, you're not getting a response from me like that. I might use chunks of your videos in there to make certain points that I want to make as examples of things, but no, I'm not going to do back and forths with anyone or debates. Wow, fuck right off. No, definitely not doing that. We're not doing any debates on the Decon Comms channel. I've got to be honest, there is absolutely no one at all on YouTube of any political persuasion, religious persuasion whatsoever who I have ever wanted to debate, and I doubt there ever will be. The idea that the great debates of our time are happening on YouTube is just so cringy to me. It's so cringy. The idea that someone puts up this video saying, like, okay, here's what the qualified academic consensus is. That's what that is. But here's my thoughts. Here's my thoughts as somebody who doesn't know anything. Okay, and those thoughts are very valuable, and they need to be debated. It's like, no, I'm just gonna drink some beer. No, we're not doing that. It's so ridiculous. So that's not happening. But basically on Decon Comms, I explain. I attempt to educate from the perspective of libertarian left, vegan, humanist, that kind of perspective. That's what I do, and that's work. But it's all using citations, lots of evidence. Because I know everyone, particularly in like the YouTube skeptic community, likes to think that they care about evidence, but they don't. You know, they like saying that to creationists and people like that because if they say stuff like that to creationists, it makes them feel really clever. If you actually get them onto any other subject and say, do you have any evidence for things you believe, they get really pissy and act like you're being unreasonable. Or they'll start saying, well, other people don't provide evidence, so why should I? And because you're a skeptic, it shouldn't matter what other people are doing. You should be doing what you think skepticism is. You should be doing that. Shouldn't you? Anyway, I suck at gardening, by the way. But that's kind of a good thing because basically not mowing your lawn at the moment is actually being kind of encouraged because it increases the population of pollinators. Particularly if you look at all this ragwort I've got in my garden, it's tons of it. I love ragwort. The great thing is, if I had like proper flower beds, that I'd have to attend them all the time. I'd have to be watering them, which would be a huge waste of water. And attending them. Look at this stuff just grows. It just does what it does, and the pollinators love it. Like if you look at this bastard, this bastard is a proper pollen junkie. Look at this insect go. Look at that. So yeah, and we need to be increasing the population of pollinators at the moment. So I'm keeping all the ragwort. I'm cutting other things back. I'm tidying up the edges of the garden a bit, but I'm keeping all the ragwort because it's great for pollinators. It's helping for increase that population. That's good for crops because we need to be doing that. Bees and things like that are dying out. Various pollinators are dying out at the moment. So we need to be increasing that population, and that's good. So it'd be nice to think we could save the world just by not doing the gardening, by sort of non-work like that. Like, oh, it's just not do that. Unfortunately, that won't work. It does a little bit to help improve the local pollinator population. It does not solve the climate emergency, unfortunately. That will involve seizing the means of production, I'm afraid, which is not non-work, it is actual work. So that's what must be done. But yeah, that's what happened really. I got on with normal life and I've been getting on with that. But it is interesting to think about why people stop. It does make you wonder a lot about the kind of people who thrive on an environment like YouTube. What kind of people who are attracted to it in the first place. It does make you think about that. It's important to know as well, nothing academic, right, is ever going to be debunked on YouTube. Okay, the theory of evolution is not going to be debunked on YouTube. Feminist theory is not going to be debunked on YouTube. Critical race theory is not going to be debunked on YouTube.
Theory, note the keyword theory.
Shut up, TLA! Sorry. Yes, so yeah, no, that's not what's going to happen. If any of these any ideas within these various academic fields were to ever be challenged and debunked, it would happen within academia. Even then, you would not be debunking something like feminism. Let's say there's an idea within feminism which you think is flawed. Let's say you go through the proper academic process, you go up the various studies, you show that indeed the idea is flawed. You wouldn't have debunked feminism. What you'd have done there is contributed to feminism. You'd have improved it as an academic discipline. But even though that's going through the academic process, there's people who aren't even doing that who think they're debunking feminism. It's so ridiculous. But the thing is, that this is the reality that's created on YouTube. It's this little pocket reality where we've just decided that that's how things work, and any attempt to penetrate that is seen as spoiling it. So that's ridiculous. But I do wonder, yeah, I do sometimes think about the people who used to vlog, who don't anymore. Yeah, I hope they're all doing well. Well, I don't hope all of them are doing well. Some of them are massive wankers, but yeah, a lot of them I hope are doing well. There were some that stopped who I thought were quite good contributors, but unfortunately, yeah, either they were being harassed too much, or they just had other things to get on with. But those sorts of people, I do hope they're doing well. So yeah, my people once were vloggers.